Well, let's explore this story a bit further with Andrew Nielsen, Director of Campaigns for the leading prison reform charity Howard League. Thank you for joining us on BBC News. According to your assessment, how easy is it to import this idea from the US and apply it to UK prisons?
Well, we certainly welcome the idea in principle. I mean, I think the idea of incentivizing people to progress through their sentences by offering the opportunity of early release if they do work and other purposeful activity is broadly a good one, and that would be regardless of whether we had a prisons capacity crisis as we do. Our concern really is that we do see at the moment a very overcrowded system with inspection reports almost every week detailing prisons unable to offer purposeful activity, prisoners languishing in their cells doing nothing, wanting to do work in education but not being offered it. So that is a big question mark on how easy it will be to import this. We need to really see a transformation in prison regimes, and that, I think, ultimately means we do need to see bolder steps taken to reduce overcrowding so that prisons can offer these sorts of positive and active regimes to try and offer that kind of incentivized progress.
80,000 prisoners or so now. Should we be increasing capacity significantly?
Well, the government is spending money on building new prisons, and that is perhaps understandable when they are running out of cells, and they certainly over the summer last year, that's what they were facing. Sadly, I don't think spending billions of pounds on new prisons is the answer. Particularly actually because of some of the issues we've just discussed. I think more money needs to be spent on the probation service in the community so that it can do the job it needs to do. Prisons have taken the lion's share of funding in criminal justice for too long, but ultimately it is the probation service that is the ultimate guarantor of public safety, because crime happens in the community and probation works in the community.
Of course, prison has a part to play within the system, but there are also far more effective non-custodial solutions that can also be used. And if you overuse prison, it's very expensive, it's ineffective, it puts the system under huge pressure so that overcrowded prisons can't rehabilitate people. And we end up ultimately in a situation where the government runs out of cells.
Broadly speaking, you support, do you, what the government is intending to do?
Broadly speaking, yes. I mean, we have to recognise the situation in the prison system is absolutely untenable. Prisons are grossly overcrowded. They're not able to do any positive work around rehabilitation. And acutely for the government, as we've seen, the government faces running out of prison cells without action to address soaring prison numbers. The Lord Chancellor Shabana Mahmood has talked about the quote-unquote total breakdown of law and order if the government doesn't act, and I can't stress really how genuine these concerns are. Now, clearly, any measures the government takes have to prioritise public safety, but I would certainly argue that warehousing people in overcrowded and violent prisons without any access to rehabilitation, with ready access to drugs, is very much a threat to public safety. We currently have prisons that are creating more victims of crime, not less.
A charity which campaigns for penal reform says the report underlines serious systemic failings.
Some of that is about the responsibility of the governor. A lot of it is the responsibility of a system where we put far too many people into jail and don't give them the support that they need to help them turn their lives around.
Earlier tonight, the chief executive of the charity Howard League for Penal Reform told us Wakefield Prison is going to be in the spotlight after this latest death in custody.
That is, puts Wakefield, I think, in a category of its own. Which is a dire state of affairs, and I'm sure it is a cause of huge concern for the people managing the prison and the people living in the prison. The pressures on Wakefield are very similar to pressures on lots of other prisons. In fact, Wakefield is actually insulated because it's of a higher security clearance. It actually has more guarantees of staffing and resource than lots of other jails have. So in some ways, Wakefield should actually be doing better and be safer.